Hi, everybody. This is Julissa. Thank you so much for coming back to my podcast, everybody. So today I'm gonna do a very quick episode, episode 12. But I just want to come here and something that it just came to my head. So as you guys know, I was born in the Dominican Republic, and if you ever been there, but specifically me and like my family, my home, right? It was located in Santo Domingo, specifically in Zona Colonial, right? As you guys know from my two previous episode, um, about the encounter that we had with a crazy neighbor. So if you didn't hear that, go back and listen to the podcast regarding the crazy neighbor at Zona Colonial, which should be very interesting. But anyways, um, I'm here to talk about, my mom was a single mom, right? I mean, she was a single mom, and besides encountering that crazy neighbor, like there were so many things, right? I think that single moms are heroes. They do so much so that to just be left with the responsibility of basically not only holding a job, right? Holding your career, taking care of your day job and all of that, but being there for your kids, for everything. Everything you will be the solution for everything. So I remember watching her struggle when it came to like dealing with everything, juggling everything. There were times that she seemed stressed when it came to, you know, with rent money, all of that stuff. We had to move a couple times, and then we ended up at my grandmother's house, and dealing with that whole move was a struggle too. And we were young kids, but here's the moment when I realized what my mom's responsibility. And like I said, I was very young when I realized this, because we came to the United States when I was 12. I was just turning 12. um so when I realized this about my mom, I was probably around 7 or 8 years old. And I remember we were going somewhere in a taxi, right? So we were driving in a taxi, and it was raining so much. And back then, I don't know if they do that now, but the taxis, they cramp you up in a taxi. Like, the car will be stopping to pick up more people. And you're like, really, where are you gonna fit more person? And the driver would be like, well, squeeze in. He's getting in. And it's insane. But anyway, so we were going in a taxi, and it was raining so much, and I remember just thinking to myself, like, this is crazy. This is me at a very young age. I didn't tell anybody, but this is what I thought. And I remember that day like it was yesterday, because I remember just staring out the window and looking at so much rain. It was like flooding the street already, but it wasn't like undrivable. But I remember just it was just torrential rain, a lot of flooding, and you're cramped up in this vehicle very high, because I didn't think the public taxis had AC back then. If they did, they would charge extra for that. But I remember just looking at the window, I'm thinking to myself, wow, my mom have to be on top of everything. This is my thoughts, right? Exactly that I came like that it came that day, because like I said, I remember like it was that same day, like right now. And I remember, well, my mom has a lot of responsibility, because not only she has to deal with taking us, I don't know exactly where we were going, but now she has to pay this taxi. And I was thinking to myself, wow, like that's a lot of work. That's what I thought when I was that age. And I'm like, that is a lot of work and a lot of responsibility for one person. That's what I thought. I never said anything, but it's almost like it was a light bulb. And I'm like, wow, the she does a lot. And speaking about that, not only dealing with the day to day, minute to minute needs of your children, right? You have to deal when they're sick, all of that, lose work time. Like when my mom used to take me, I had a condition in one of my legs, and she used to take me to the clinic. And my mom used to work at a clinic, right, first of all. So she used to work at a clinic. So some days she would take me, don't drop me off at school. I would just go with her to her job. She will work for a couple hours and then will take the rest of the day, like after 12 or something, we'll go to the clinic so I can see the doctor. And that was like ongoing, like it was very often. And it's so crazy because all of that, is like I give it like for the mom, the single moms, I know. I mean, I don't have any kids, but I can from watching my mom do so much like that, that's it's a lot, and they're heroes. I think moms are amazing, I'm so thankful for the mom that I had. She had to deal with so much, like I said, having to, I mean, from my understanding, and not that I'm trying to say anything bad about my dad, but my understanding was that he left when I was just born. Like it was like he went and saw me at the hospital, and then he's like, "Well, I had something planned. I'm going to New York or something like that." And my sister was just like 1 year old, and then it was me being born, and she had to deal with all of that at that moment. And it was a lot of work, so I will forever be thankful to her. So dealing with everything like that, being a parent, being a single parent, having a job also because to provide and all of that, it was a lot of work. And I remember going on that taxi with it was me, my sister, and her, and I was like, wow, that's a lot. Now she has to get the money to pay this guy. And I was thinking to myself, that's a lot of responsibility. Like we don't Like, I was thinking, me and my sister, we don't have to worry about that. She has it, like she's on top of it. And it's so crazy for a child to think something like that. But anyways, when I'm talking about that and like growing up in Zona Colonial, I have to say something, and it's laughable because thinking about myself, right? I was never like when it came to schoolwork, I excel at everything that had to deal with the arts, right? Very, I think that's very like obvious, I guess, when you know that I'm a fashion designer, that I create things, that I make jewelry, that I paint, so many other things, right? So that's very obvious. But when you are in school, in grade school, you in your early school days, and you're struggling like with simple stuff that everybody gets, but then you get so many a great report for everything that's artistic. And I think a lot of the times, I know we need it, like the other stuff we also need it in life, but a lot of the times you have to understand that when you see something like that on your child, especially growing up, that means like that's their own purpose being shown to you. You know, people excel at the things that they're good at, right? And when you're good at something, that means you have a passion for it. So I think that was just my report card was just displaying itself to what it was to come, right? So the reason that I'm talking about that and I'm laughing because just recently now I was watching a video about Zona Colonial and just looking at the old neighborhood. So there is this guy on YouTube. He does a lot of videos. I think he's from Japan, and he does a lot of video in the city. I was just watching him on his YouTube channel, and I was like, "Oh, look at my own neighborhood, with the streets that I grew up in, and this and the other." But it's just funny because he was passing by this place that I used to go to, and then I remember what I used to go there for, and what happened was, I guess my mom was notified from the school about me and how bad I was doing in math. And this has been ongoing all my life. Like, if people ask me, can you tell me how much it will be if because I work retail and, when I do my business stuff, my vendor events, people be like, so 20%, how much is that? Like, some people get it. I'll get my cell phone out and get the calculator on because that's how I am. Like, I'm not like some people are good at some things, others are not. But I guess at a very young age, it came to float that I was really bad in math. So when I was watching this video, it reminded me that my mom had to she had to put me in a tutoring class after school. And the way it was presented to me, this is the crazy because I don't remember anything about her and being called out by my teacher about me or bring this letter to your mom or tell your mom we need to talk to her, nothing like that. What it was presented to me was you need help with homework and you're gonna go to tutoring class after school. Some like I think it was like three afternoons. During the week. So I'm like, okay, how come Goldie's not with my sister? I'm like, so she doesn't have to go. My sister didn't have to, but she was good at in her classes. And I was like, fine, whatever. So she found this lady who was a teacher, and she had like a little school set up. And I remember exactly because I just watched that video. I remember exactly. It was like on the fourth floor of this building, on the top of it, and she had the little school set up with like little, it looked like a school. She always said, I'm not a teacher, I'm just a substitute teacher, tutoring person. But she's like, we we help kids here with homework, so reading and things like that, like things that you need help with. And then on that top floor, um my mom came with me the first day to show me the place and all of that. It was in the neighborhood, so I had to walk a couple blocks to get to it, but it wasn't like crazy far, so it was convenient, right? And the lady was very nice. And that's one thing I remember. She was very nice. But it was so crazy because when that was presented to me, that I had to now go to tutoring, it wasn't like, oh no, you're doing really bad in math and we got to do something about it, you're going to fail the course, nothing like that. It was basically, she's going to help you with your homework. That's it. And that's just like it goes back to my mom, like how she had to manage everything else and also stuff like that. And I'm laughing because it's just so crazy, just to think that at that age I needed like help with math already. And I remember in college I struggled with chemistry too, that I had to take for fashion class. It's so crazy because everybody will be like, how come a fashion degree requires chemistry? Well, they require it. But anyways, that was a long time ago too. So what happened, I used to go every afternoon, and the lady had this nice setup. It looked like an old, like, it wasn't like a, oh, like, what do you call those places that people go, like Siflan Learning Center, nothing like that. It was like her own setup at her home. But she had it very cute, right? It looked like a little school with like tables and chairs and like a blackboard and all of that. So it was very nice. And believe it or not, my favorite thing, like after my mom went my first day, it was great. Whatever, I had to go, every afternoon and go to class. And what happened was that she during like the whole time, I don't know how long I was there for, like I don't know if it lasted 2 hours or one, but in between, like we used to get a break, right? It was like about five of us, five kids. So we used to get a break. And then my favorite thing about that place, it was the snack. If my mom only knew that I just love going there because of the snack, she will kill me. I mean, not she wouldn't, but I'm saying like I never say anything, but I love getting that cup of juice or iced tea, whatever it was. It was always so cold, right? And then the two little cookies that she would give us, she would cut it in half and like everybody would get two pieces of cookies. And that was like my favorite thing. And I'm laughing because of that. Like here you are, your mom is making the effort so you can do better in school, and that's what you go there for. And I remember after a couple times that I went, then I didn't have to go anymore. And I don't know if the lady closed the place down or my mom couldn't afford it anymore. Because I don't remember getting better in the math. You know what I mean? Like I don't remember getting better because obviously my mind mentally. I'm like, okay, I'll do whatever she says, but I just want my juice and my cookie. It was so crazy. It was so crazy. That's insane to me that my mom probably paying for it for me to be there, and that's the only thing I couldn't think about. And the other kids were very nice too. Like I made some friends, and it was I look forward to going because of that too. But that was not the purpose of it, right? But anyways, I remember one time when my dad used to came visit us. When we were already living here in the US, he came one time to visit us here in Connecticut, and he's laughing. He's like, "I want to see your report card." And I'm like, "Okay." So I show him my high school report card, my recent one, and he's laughing. He's like, "Why you have all A's in art, painting, sewing? Everything is an A, and then you go to to like the other stuff, and it's like, you get C's and D's. It's like, what is going on?" He started laughing, and I think what that's just, I guess you can say, you know, like I said before, when people are good at something, like it shows, like they're gonna excel at it. And when people like to do something, it's gonna show like very obviously, right? But it's so crazy how even little stuff like that I still remember, just watching that video of that guy. Just, he does a lot of like walking around in Dominican Republic to show the world, I guess. And he's showing my own neighborhood, and that building I saw, I'm like, I remember walking to that place. It was so crazy how that stays in your mind, and then I remember, just watching it, remember how much your mom does for you, right? Because here she is noticing that I'm struggling with something. She's like, I don't want my kid to struggle. I want her to learn it. And and then I had, she arranged that for me to get help with homework, especially math. But it was just crazy because I enjoy so much the snack that they give me in that place. Because first of all, I think the main thing was like it was an all surprise for me. Like they never mention any snacks, and then she's like, "Okay, we're gonna take a break now," and then she comes with her bandeja, like a huge, this um plate thing where like a serving tray, and she comes out with that stuff, and the iced tea, the juice was so cold, and I'm like, "Oh, I look for," I remember looking forward to just going for that. It was so crazy. But anyways, that's something that came to my mind. But it's a funny story to think about it, but that goes to show you, the things that your mom does for you, and it's just little things like that, Also too, like me growing up as a baby, they started noticing that I wasn't growing hair in my head. It was very bald, and what happened was like it was so bald. Like the only thing that when my hair started coming out, another thing that my mom did was like when my hair was starting coming out, it was just a line down the center of my head. And people are like, what does that mean? Like you have to picture like this character called Mr. T. Like that's what people call me. I'm not saying when I was 5, I'm saying probably younger, that like as a baby. And there are photos of me with that line of hair just across, like in the center of my head, like bald in on the sides, and just a line of hair down the center of my head. And I guess I don't know until how old I was that happened, but I seen baby pictures of me like that. So I don't know how old when that happened, but I remember my mom said one time, because then after that, I grew a lot of hair in my head, like very thick hair. And everybody will be like, how come you have a lot? Like, how many times people tell me that? Even not like now, that's what I mean. Like, grow up and like grown up and everything. People be like, you had a lot of hair. Like, we thought it was a wig. It's so much and so thick, whatever. But then my mom said to me one time, she told me the story. She's like, well, I had to buy this new thing that I ordered from New York, because everything, people will order stuff from New York, and like if they knew a family member was traveling and coming by, going to New York and coming back, they'll be like, "Can you bring me this? I heard this is a great product." So they will make orders like that, right? So she's like, when you were growing up, she's like, you didn't have a lot of hair in your head. It was just going, a line across the center. And I didn't want you to grow up and people making fun of you. So I bought this thing and it was like a cream and I put it on your head. I was like, are you serious? So yes, of course, she doesn't remember the name of it, the name of the product. But she's like, that's what I did because I didn't want you to grow up and like people making fun of you because of that. It's so crazy, man. Like little things like that. That you and I know some people might be listening and be like, that's so like beauty, like vanity or something. I don't know. But I'm just saying like she even thought about that, thinking about me and my math problem that I would have and arranging somebody to help me so that I can be better in school. And then when I was a baby, noticing that the hair wasn't coming up fast enough, and that was gonna be a problem in the future. And she ordered this cream that I guess made everything came alive, because then I had a lot of thick hair in my head, and that tells you, moms like are the best. And I know it's not the case for everybody, but I'm just saying I can only speak from what I know. And I was, like I said, I was just watching a video of this person, this YouTuber going around Zona Colonial, and it just brought that to my memory how even going in that taxi, right, with all that rain and cramped up, squished in, just a few more passengers, and whatever it is that we were going, thinking about who do you guys get an umbrella? Like I didn't have to worry about getting an umbrella. I didn't have to worry about carrying the taxi fare. Like I noticed at that moment that my mom took care of everything, and that's a lot of work for one person, you know. And that tells you it's like when when single parent. I mean, even not just single parents. A parent, a good parent, right, is a person who just gives themselves to the kids to for whatever like it is that they need. And that's such a blessing to grow up in with somebody like that. It is such a blessing. So I'm forever thankful, for my mom, forever thankful for everything that she did for us. Um and for being there in the moment, like I'm not trying to say anything about my dad, nothing like that, because he also um did what he needed to do, right? When it came to like taking care of us financially, he did what he needed to do. But I'm saying my mom was the help, the immediate help at the moment. Okay, so if we were coughing at night, like she will be the immediate help. And a lot of the times people think that just sending money is gonna help the situation. And a lot of the times you need somebody to be right there with you. And that's so, it's not everybody who does that, right? But whoever does it, it's like you have such a reward waiting for you in heaven. That's what I believe. Because that's putting other people before you, and that's rewarded in the eyes of God. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming back and listening to my podcast. Leave me a comment, share this episode, and check out my website, julisadesigns.com. Have a good night, everybody. God bless.